I am super excited about this one today because we haven't done a soulmate reading in such a long time, and I am just excited to get into this. Super fun, entertaining, and hopefully uplifting reading. So just to make it a bit more clear what you are about to watch, this reading is going to be talking about the energy of your soulmate. It can also be a friend or a platonic sort of soulmate, so don't get stuck only in that romantic sense of the word. And basically, we are going to get into the personality traits, the descriptions of your soulmate, so that you would have an easier time recognizing soulmate energy around you. So if that is something that sounds like it would interest you, then stick around and yeah, let's get to the pile selection part. This card represents pile number 1. This card represents pile number 2. This card represents pile number 3. If you already know exactly which card is drawing you towards itself, then you can go into the description box down below, click on the timestamp that you need and jump straight to your reading. But if you are somewhat unsure how you should go about choosing the right pile, then some of my recommendations would be to first try and get yourself to a quiet space if you are distracted or if there is a lot of noise around you. Also, as you are trying to get into the present moment and feel more connected to your body, you may want to close your eyes for a few seconds, maybe do some breathing exercises as well, so that you could really get mindful. And when you open your eyes again and you feel that you are in this present moment, look at these piles again. See what is calling out to you, what your eye is landing on and getting stuck on. Maybe there is something that you hear, maybe something nudges you towards something specific. Trust your intuitive voice, however it speaks to you, but as I also always say, please don't forget to use your discernment as you are listening to these general messages. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile number 1. My name is Helen, and thank you for being here, for choosing to hang out with me today. So let's first look at the card that you chose. And the way that we're going to do this is that I'm going to feel my way through this card intuitively, see what I'm picking up on the energy, and from some of these keywords, you should be able to recognize something that is kind of going on with you or where you are at. So something should resonate with you, and that should be the first clue that this is your pile. So pile number 1, you chose the Rose and Feminine card. And I do feel that you are in this opening up sort of energy right now, because with the feminine and even the symbolism of the rose, there is a lot of receptivity and slowly but surely coming out of your shell, or just opening up. And I do feel that maybe there has been a time where you haven't felt that open, where you have drawn into yourself a bit. Maybe you have felt like you needed to protect yourself, like you needed to shelter yourself, give yourself some space and some time to just process things. Because I'm also looking at the golden emblem of the rose here, and I'm being drawn to the element of thorns. So maybe there has been a period where you have been a bit more prickly, and it might be because of some of the things that you have endured, some of the things that you have gone through that have deeply disappointed you, that have deeply hurt you. It doesn't even have to be anything romantic specifically. You know, people can hurt us even when they have the best of intentions, and when they are our friends, when they are our family members, when they are our colleagues or business partners, or when they are our children. Whatever sort of relationships you are specifically sort of recovering from, or that you have recovered from, what sort of relationship experiences have hurt you, it just feels like you have needed this time to to just recover, to come back to neutral territory. I'm also being drawn to the number 19, which is on this card, and the number 19, which reduces down to 10, can very often talk about cyclical energy too, something coming to an end, something culminating, and then being prepared for a fresh new beginning with the number 1. So yeah, maybe you have gone through a breakup recently, or some sort of separation, some sort of falling out, but that may be more of a specific message. Either way, overall, the energy that is coming off of this card now is definitely one that is a lot more soft, that is a lot more ready to face the world again, to face people again, to open up in a more gentle and vulnerable way. And yeah, just kind of allow life to surprise you. But as I said, it is just the intuitive part. So don't worry if you are not 100% sold on this energy here, because we are going to also look at these oracle cards, and these oracle cards are going to describe what your energy is like generally. So you should be able to recognize yourself a lot more easily from these messages. Okay, we have release, Juno, Dragonfly, 12th house, and taking risks. Pile number 1, very, very interesting energy coming through here. So let's start from the very beginning. With this release card, I get the sense that you are someone who has a tendency to not really hold on to too much baggage from the past, and especially I feel like it's tied to grudges. So you seem to be someone who is quite easily able to let go of certain things that that have at one point weighed you down, that have been difficult to stomach. But I feel like you are actually really good at, again, shedding those things, at not allowing those things to keep you stuck, and color everything in your future as well. And I'm going to kind of jump ahead here to this Dragonfly card, because that is mostly what is giving me the feeling that you are someone who is actually quite able to adapt and work your mind around whatever has happened, so that you wouldn't get bogged down by it too much, or that you wouldn't get stuck in it for these massive long periods of time. With the Dragonfly, I feel like your mind, or the way that you see things, is actually quite playful or multifaceted. I feel like you are really good at seeing things from all of these different perspectives and understanding all of these different viewpoints. But I do also want to say, maybe this is more of a specific message, but the energy that is coming through here as well is one of possibly seeing the best in others, or wanting to see the best in others. And so it may be something that also helps you to get over grudges or hurts maybe more quickly than someone else would. But I feel like it's also something that maybe makes you fall in love with people more easily, or get crushes if it's not like specifically falling in love, but then maybe getting crushes more easily and more quickly. Falling head over heels for someone within the first week of meeting them, like, and I'm just giving you an example, but I definitely feel like someone here would fall under that sort of description. And if we again zoom out of the relationship, like romantic relationship theme, then you could also be someone who is just very friendly and who can kind of communicate and talk to anyone, really. You seem to be very versatile. And again, I feel like it's down to your ability to like jump into other people's shoes and turn your own mindset around so that you could see where the other person is coming from. So I do feel like you have a lot of flexibility and a lot of this adaptability within your mind, which allows you to find the similar wavelength with whoever or whomever you are speaking to. I'm actually feeling kind of a Libran energy coming through. So you may have some placements, some important, significant placements in Libra. But again, it's more of a specific message, most likely. Now, I do kind of want to jump to this Juno card here, because looking at this card, I'm feeling like you are actually someone who takes commitment very seriously. And I do feel like you are someone who wants to have something substantial. You don't seem to be a like a one-night stand sort of person at all. I don't feel like these flings or casual relationships or situationships are for you at all. And again, if we're just talking about relationships of any kind, you seem to really invest yourself in people, and you seem to take relationships with people very seriously in general. So I do feel that you are not someone who very easily or very quickly cuts people out of your life. Even if by some sort of emotional outburst you get that reflex, I do feel that there may be this tendency to reach back out again after some time, or just again, once the emotions cool down, you may sort of soften a bit or go back on that decision, because I do feel like you take your commitments very seriously, and I feel like it's not that easy to let go of them or to walk away from them. And we also have this 12th house card here, which again, is kind of making me feel that you are someone who has a hard time cutting people off, or maybe even setting very firm boundaries. The 12th house can be sort of a nebulous house, and it's also often called the house of self-undoing. Now, I'm not saying that that's something that you are doing necessarily, but again, with this dragonfly energy that was coming through earlier of potentially wanting to see the best in people, wanting to believe the best from people, and not wanting to walk away from the time and the energy and the resources that you have invested in certain relationships and certain people, there may be this tendency to take certain hurts and certain difficulties that arise in relationships very, very hard. And I do feel that you actually take things to heart as well, even though it may be something that other people don't see. With the dragonfly, there is this energy of creating certain illusions as well. And with the 12th house, which can often talk about secrets or sort of hidden aspects, it can be something that you are actually very good at hiding or not allowing other people to see. But I do feel that, again, things stay with you, and you do sort of absorb them, especially if it's coming from the people that you feel a very strong affinity towards or with, or that you have some sort of more long-standing connection with. And so also potentially you may recognize yourself in the description of someone who maybe stays in relationships for way too long, even if they are not actually good for you, if they have some sort of detrimental effect, or if they are just not the most healthy, not the most beneficial for you. Again, there could be this tendency to want to make things work out, to want to give it your all, right? So especially in the past, I feel, regardless of how old you are, but I feel like when you were younger, possibly in your teenage years, or even in your like 20s, if you are old enough to have 20s in your past or recent past, I feel like when you were younger, especially then, you may have invested yourself in relationships that ended up being detrimental to you, that ended up being hurtful to you. But you may have stayed in those for a lot longer than was actually good for you. So that may be maybe more of a specific message again. But we also have this taking risks card. And so that is another sort of confirmation that you are someone who is able to recover from the things that you have experienced, from the pains and hurts and unpleasant situations. And sort of, again, you know, give people another try. So in this sense, I do feel that you are definitely not someone who is bitter or who has become jaded, which can very likely happen to people when, you know, when they have experienced some of these more scarring or traumatic or hurtful experiences with relationships. But I don't think that that is the case for you. And I also feel that you are actually quite bold with sort of putting yourself out there, with expressing yourself, and being willing to go on the journey, giving someone a try without having any sort of guarantees that things are going to work out. I feel like you are actually very interested in people. You are interested in the journey and the adventure of where something could lead. So in that sense, I feel like you are very open to, again, allowing life to surprise you, which kind of coincides with the energy that was coming through from the intuitive part as well. But anyway, pile number one, I feel like I have started rambling a bit too much now. So hopefully this was enough to give you an indication that this is your pile. And if you did recognize yourself in this part, then definitely stay tuned for the tarot cards, because now we get to the most exciting portion of the reading. We are going to take a look at what kind of energy is coming through for your soulmate. So let's see. Whoa. Okay. You are getting so many cards here, but we are taking all of them. Okay, there we go. So the King of Wands in reverse, the Well, which is a part of the Major Arcana in this deck specifically, the Seven of Cups and the Ten of Swords, with the Hierophant being the underlying energy. Zodiac sign wise, we have Leo and Taurus coming out the strongest, but we also have Scorpio and Gemini. So pile number one, let's start off with the underlying energy. We have the Hierophant coming out over here, and I just feel heavy morality with this card. So I feel like your soulmate's energy is one of high morals. They seem to sort of value what's right and what's good, and I feel like they try to sort of embody that and live by that, not just spread it around for other people, but I feel like they actually live by example. And the interesting thing is, when I look at this King of Wands coming out in reverse, one of the strongest things that I feel is this lack of ego, or not needing to prove anything to anyone. I feel that there is some form of humility where they don't necessarily have this impulse to control anything or anyone. It almost feels, especially next to the Well card, like someone who is able to allow people to be who they are and allow certain situations to be what they are. With the well, I actually feel even this connection to spirituality or God or the divine. They seem to have this ability to see things from a higher vantage point, or to see something more clearly, to not be blinded by this everyday, mundane, capitalistic sort of world that we live in. So I do feel this, again, this connection to something bigger. And so because they have most likely gone through some sort of spiritual awakening at least once in their life, they seem to be less interested in these worldly achievements or worldly accolades and things like that. I feel like they see beyond these surface level things. And so it almost feels like they know what's important and what is worth pursuing, what is worth investing in, what is worth pushing themselves for, and what isn't. And the interesting thing is that we also got these two cards which came out together, the Seven of Cups with the Ten of Swords. And this feels like they have this very perceptive way of being about them. It almost feels impossible to fool them or to sell them any sort of fairy tale or made up story, because they seem to just be able to, they seem to be able to see through it very quickly and call out any sort of BS that comes their way. And I also feel this is something that seems to coincide with the Hierophant energy in general. There is something guru-like about them, or where they may end up being these role models or leaders, whether they want to be or whether they try to be or not. Most likely they don't really try to be that, because again, they seem to be in this position where they don't need to impress anyone, or where they don't feel the pressure to prove anything to anyone. But it feels like it's because of this sense of peace, or almost like regality, that seems to come off of them. People tend to look up to them and see them as very wise and very experienced and knowledgeable. And so they may be often put in this position of leadership, or of a guru, or a wise person, someone who you turn to for advice. They may be someone who is able to reveal the truth of things, or again, break down certain illusions that people may be having, or that they may be sort of trapped by. So let's take a look at what is a potential weak spot of theirs, or what they struggle with. And it is potentially something that you yourself are actually really good at. But let's see what comes through. Okay. So we have the Chariot coming out in reverse as the underlying energy, and the Two of Pentacles with the Seven of Swords. Sign-wise, we have Cancer, we also have Aquarius, and we have Capricorn. So one of their weaknesses, or something that they may be struggling with, that may be a strength of yours, is actually this adaptability of the mind that was actually coming through when we were talking about your energy. Because the Two of Pentacles is very literally about adaptability and flexibility. And with the Seven of Swords, this talks about a strategic sort of mindset, or approaching things in a novel way, in an out-of-box sort of way. And because we have this underlying energy of the Chariot coming out in reverse, it does feel like there is certain rigidity, or a stuck sort of thinking when it comes to this person, where they may have very concrete values and beliefs in place, and at times it may mean that they see certain things in like black and white terms. Because the Chariot in reverse can talk about sort of being somewhat stuck or not being able to move forward. And it does seem to stem from this tendency to maybe see things in a more specific sort of way. And it may be difficult for them to change their point of view based on someone else's approach that may be different from theirs. And again, clearly it's something that you seem to actually be really good at, like being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and see where they're coming from and all of that. But let's also look at what is a strength of your soulmates, that something that they are good at that maybe you potentially struggle with. So let's see. Okay. So we have the Three of Wands in reverse and the Magician. So sign-wise, we have, and the Eight of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. So we actually have Virgo coming out now twice, but Gemini could still be a significant sign, as well as Aries. The Three of Wands in reverse with the Magician is indicating that one of the strengths of your soulmate is this ability to be very independent and not need to have outside help or have outside assistance or guidance to rely on. With the Magician, they seem to be extremely capable of managing things on their own and potentially taking care of all of these different aspects of a situation by themselves, because the Three of Wands in reverse can be somewhat of an energy that doesn't want to expand, doesn't want to venture out. And especially with the Magician, that is such a capable and independent energy where everything that you need, all of the skill sets are already there within you. And clearly the soulmate energy coming through here is someone who is extremely capable of doing everything by themselves, especially with the Eight of Pentacles being the underlying energy too. It is a very industrious, a very hardworking sort of energy, constantly wanting to improve themselves, and that isn't afraid to hunker down and just do what needs to be done. And I do feel that this is not saying that being independent and doing things by yourself is not something that you are capable of. But I do feel that there may be something about potentially having an easier time doing things with someone else, or enjoying doing things with other people more so than by yourself, especially because we have this Juno energy here, and also because of this feminine rose energy that you chose in the beginning. So a lot of this feminine receptive energy is kind of hinting at maybe being more of this, again, this receptive and patient and more passive. Whereas the Magician is coming through as very masculine. So again, it just seems to be this place where your energies are somewhat complementary, but like opposing each other at the same time, if that makes any sense. So yeah, these were the tarot messages regarding your soulmate energy, but we are going to close the reading out with some oracle card messages from Spirit as well regarding this whole reading and what you need to hear. So today we are having a bit of a treat because we are actually using 2 oracle card decks, which I haven't done in a very long time, I feel. But yeah, today I was called to do that. So let's start off with the first one. Okay. Wow. So we have, now is the time to explore and discover who you really are. This card is coming out first, and yeah, this one seems to go well with the whole aspect of taking risks and see what else life has in store for you. Because honestly, I feel like you have done this discovering who you are on your own for a while now, or for long enough, I should say. And truly, we can only really know ourselves in relation to other people, because we are not meant to live in isolation. We're not meant to live cut off from other people and from relationships, right? We are meant to be social creatures. That's how we are designed. So yeah, I feel like discovering who you really are, learning about yourself, is something that you can do more effectively when there are other people to kind of show you, if that makes any sense. Okay, we also have release your worries. It will all work out for you. And I love that we're getting a rose illustration on this card, because it's just this perfect little coincidence. But yeah, release your worries. It will all work out for you. How beautiful of a message is that? At the bottom of the deck we have now is the perfect time to turn your wish into a reality. So yeah, again, further encouragement from Spirit to get cracking. But we are also going to get an affirmation from this deck here. So let's see. Whoa, okay. Oh, sorry. Too many cards. We're only taking one. So we have open-heartedness. I know that life and the people living it can be an absolute bummer sometimes, but I promise not to let unhappy chapters make me jaded. Oh my goodness. This is something that you just cannot make up, and I just love moments like these. I love when there are certain confirmations coming through. Anyway, getting back to the card. If I let negative experiences turn me sour, then the jerks win. So I'll move on with an open and hopeful heart, if only because I hate losing to jerks. So I absolutely love this message for you, pile number one. This is such a perfect card to end the reading with. And yeah, open-heartedness. I mean, we were talking about it before. We were talking about your openness in the intuitive part as well, and now it feels like we are coming full circle and closing the reading out with it as well. So yeah, just a beautiful affirmation regarding staying hopeful and staying open-hearted and optimistic about life and experiences that are yet to come. So yeah, pile number one, I hope that you had fun listening to these messages. I hope that it was entertaining to watch. And if that is the case, and you are still here, by the way, leave me an eagle. Leave me a little eagle emoji down in the comment section so that I would know that you are here, that you stuck it out throughout this whole thing, and that you had fun listening to these messages. I always love seeing what your experience is with the messages that come through, and you know, if you resonate with them, it's the thing that makes this all worthwhile. So I really love seeing that in the comment section. But I also hope to see you back on this channel next Friday for some more messages, insight and fun. And in the meantime, please take care of yourselves. Bye bye. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile number two. My name is Helen, and thank you so much for being here, for choosing to spend your time with me and hang out. I really, really appreciate it. But let's get straight to the messages. And we're going to start off with the card that you chose. I'm going to feel my way through it intuitively, see what is coming up, and based on these keywords or some of these messages coming through, you should be able to recognize where you are at right now or what is going on with you. So yeah, hopefully it will be some sort of first indication that this is your pile. But pile number two, you chose this scarab beetle or scarab card with the keyword resilience on it. I do have to say, I feel like you are actually toughening it out right now. It feels like you have had to go through a period of time, or maybe several periods of time where you have had to do without. And I feel most strongly that it is talking about the emotional meaning of the word, even though obviously there may be other aspects to it. There may also be certain physical lack that you have experienced too. But for the most part, I feel like the majority of this energy is tied to emotional lack, or again, having to do with very little. I'm looking at the sand dune on this card as well. And so clearly there is something kind of barren or lackluster that you have had to go through. And again, it doesn't seem to indicate that you haven't had any sort of emotional fulfillment at all, or that things have been like completely dreary. But I do feel that either the emotional fulfillment that you have had has been really small, like you haven't had enough of it, or there has been this long period of time where you have had to provide things for yourself or offer some of these sources of emotional fulfillment for yourself. Again, it may also be physical, it may also be mental or spiritual, but it feels like there is a lot of this self-reliance on this card, or this energy coming through is very self-reliant, just because there hasn't been that much around to support you or for you to lean on. And I'm also looking at the number of this card, which is the number 17. And for some reason, I'm being drawn to the tarot card, the Star, because that is number 17 in the Major Arcana. And again, it seems to coincide with this message of, sorry, nose is itching. It seems to coincide with this message of having to sort of find ways to keep yourself inspired, or potentially needing to recuperate from something being more drastic, something being more traumatizing or more difficult to live through, to endure, because the number 17 card, the Star card, follows the Tower card, right? So there is this connection of needing to look after yourself for a time and really take care of yourself and be gentle with yourself, because obviously you have had some tough times. And again, I don't know why, but I just feel like for the most part, there is a lot of this emotional lack that is present, or where your emotional needs haven't been met. So, you know, even if you are doing super well career-wise, or you have an amazing hobby, or you have an amazing business, or everything like that, right? If you are actually doing quite well in certain other areas of life, then I do feel that in certain other aspects of life, you have had to, again, tough it out. But yeah, this is just the intuitive part. So don't worry if it is not 100% all clicking in place for you, because we are also going to take a look at these oracle cards, and these are going to describe your energy, what it is generally like. So you should be able to recognize yourself much more easily from these cards. Okay, we have abundance, 11th house, black egg, 7th house, and adventures. So pile number 2, looking at these cards, the first thing I want to say is that you are definitely a people's person. And you seem to thrive when you are in the middle of groups of people, when you are in this buzzing, dynamic energy, when there is a lot going on, there is a lot of excitement, there is a lot of communication. You seem to, again, thrive and excel in that sort of environment, which is interesting, because from the intuitive part, again, it was coming through that there is certain lack where you haven't had certain emotional needs being met, and where you have had to, you know, just kind of do your own thing for a while, or yeah, just sort of push through and be your own support system, which is interesting, as I already said, because we have this abundance card, which is coming out first. And abundance has so many different meanings, right? Depending on the context, depending on your definition of the word, which tends to vary from person to person. But generally speaking, it does seem to hint at you being in an abundant place, or at the very least, it feels like there are certain aspects of your life where you are very abundant and where you are able to create abundance with ease. I do feel, especially because we have this 11th card next to this abundance card, that you are someone who is very popular, very sociable. You are easily able to attract people to you or create connections. I feel like you are really good at networking and creating these connections, these ties to people who may end up becoming very beneficial to your journey at one point. And I don't want to make this sound like you are taking advantage of people or that you are using people for your own personal gains or something, but you just seem to have an eye for people that are good to know, and you seem to be able to nurture and foster these relationships that end up rewarding you somehow in the future. And again, you know, it can be in all of these different sort of meanings. Sorry, my nose is so itchy. But coming back to you, with this abundance, it feels like you have an abundant nature as well, which may also explain why people are quite easily drawn to you, or why you seem to have this buzzing or electric sort of energy or aura. And I feel like you are actually an extrovert, at least most of the time. Now, I also feel with this black egg next to the 11th house that you seem to have quite a clear understanding of what you want your life to be, what sort of dream vision you want to create, or that at the very least there seems to be some sort of vision in place. So you are definitely not giving the vibe of a person who is just sort of lost or aimlessly walking through life and trying to figure out why you are here and what your purpose is and things like that. You seem to actually have a really good grasp of what your truth is, what you want to do, because the 11th house is also the house of your sort of deepest desires or wishes in this lifetime. And the black egg, as I said, is tied to personal truth. Now, you may also, because of this, be someone who people turn to, because you seem to exude this knowing energy, because it feels like you have certain things figured out, or again, you don't seem to have that much doubt, or you don't seem to portray a lot of instability or hesitation or doubt or things like that. You seem to have a very firm grasp or understanding of who you are and what you want. And that's something that is extremely inspirational and also attractive and magnetic to other people. So I do feel that people may come to you or turn to you for advice, or if they simply need to talk something out, you may be the one who people turn to. And I feel like that's also where we run into this risk of your emotional needs not being fulfilled or not being met, because people just seem to view you as someone who has their stuff all worked out and all together, even if that's not the case. And even if you do actually have things that you are missing, something that you are yearning for, I don't think that people even realize that that's the case, and maybe they don't even think to ask. So that's why you may end up being in this position where you kind of have to offer yourself some emotional support a lot of the times. And The interesting thing is, though, that we also have this 7th house here, which again is a relationship house. It's the house of partnership. It's the house of one-on-one relationships. And they don't have to be specifically romantic. This can also talk about business partnerships or just any one-on-one relationships. But they very often, the 7th house topics, I mean, are very often tied to some sort of commitments or some sort of important relationships in your life. And the interesting thing that I feel here, though, is that as strong as your inner truth and inner resolve and inner voice is, there seems to be some sort of hindrance or block when it comes to expressing what you need from other people, from the people that you have some sort of connections or relationships with. So it's interesting why that is coming through, but I don't know, it's just something that I feel intuitively that in all of these other regards and aspects, you don't really seem to have that much trouble expressing your truth and expressing who you are and what you want. But when it comes to your emotional needs or what you need from a specific relationship or from someone, I feel like that's where you may have certain blocks in place where it's not easy for you to do that. But yeah, again, we have 2 very social houses coming through. So again, the significance of other people in your life is clearly something that cannot be understated. Now, we also have this adventures card. And on the one hand, I do feel that it's simply talking about your sense of adventure or how you are more so an optimistic person, someone who takes life as it comes and who is able to also have fun with certain situations that you are thrown in where you are maybe not the best equipped or where you are not prepared necessarily. You seem to be able to kind of go with the flow and see it all as this experience. So yeah, you seem to be able to enjoy yourself and again, sort of make through any situation that is put on your path and learn something from it. See it as something that has value, even if in the moment you are struggling, even if in the moment it is something challenging to you. But on the other hand, next to this 7th house, I do also feel that you may be someone who has had quite a lot of experience with relationships, with people, and maybe in the past you have had more of these like casual relationships or friends with benefits sort of relationships. I don't know, maybe this is more of a specific message, so that may not be the case for all of you watching, but it's definitely a message coming through for someone here where you may have had a lot of adventures in the relationship area of life as well. But yeah, hopefully that gives you some sort of indication whether this is your pile or not. Hopefully you recognize yourself from this description, and if that is the case, then definitely stay around for these messages that we are going to get into next with these tarot cards, because now we actually look at your soulmate's energy, and we are going to start off with the general energy of your soulmate. So let's see what we get. Wow. Okay. What? Oh, you know, best laid plans. I always say that I have this vision that I'm going to get a certain amount of cards, and then as soon as the reading actually begins, it just almost never goes the way that I had planned. But anyway, we are getting some major arcana cards as well, and I'm going to point out the zodiac signs that are coming out over here just in case you resonate with them or you recognize them, and it may be further confirmation that this is your pile. So the most strongly we have Cancer and Gemini, but we also have Taurus with the 7 of Pentacles and Aries with the 4 of Wands. Okay, so let's start off with the underlying energy. We have the 4 of Wands coming out, and this is just such a beautiful, warm and happy sort of energy. It's very familial as well. So It's saying that the energy of your soulmate is definitely one that's also very social, that thrives in social contexts, and that enjoys the company of other people. There is something very welcoming and supportive as well. So the energy of your soulmate is one that feels like home, for sure. And I also feel this beautiful, uplifting and supportive energy from them, where as soon as you are around them, as soon as you spend some time with them, you automatically feel safe. You feel protected, like everything is okay and everything is going to be okay. There is, definitely something really sort of nurturing about them, or where they just have this ability to calm down any anxieties, I feel, and just give you this warm and fuzzy feeling. Now, we have the Chariot in reverse that came out with the Ace of Cups, and I'm feeling a really interesting message with the Chariot in reverse, because it's giving me this energy of someone who is just completely opposite of selfishness or a selfish sort of energy. They seem to be much more driven by this feeling of compassion, or this feeling of like warmth and love and caring and affection. The Ace of Cups feels so abundant, like they have a lot of love to give. And it's like, I don't think that they view success as some sort of a egotistical thing, or I even want to say that success to them may mean something completely different than what it means to most people. And I feel like they define success much more through these emotional and spiritual blessings rather than any worldly statuses or symbols or something like that. And they have such a caring nature about them, where I feel like sometimes they may even like put their own stuff on hold or sacrifice something that is going on for them for someone else, and especially someone that they truly care about. Because we also have the Lover's energy coming out over here too. And actually, well, both of these cards came out together, the Lovers and the Seven of Pentacles. But this Lover's energy is definitely another confirmation that your soulmate is someone who takes commitments very seriously, someone who wants to have meaningful connections in their life. And especially with the Seven of Pentacles, I feel like they are willing to put in the work. They are willing to take things slow and invest in a beautiful, steady, secure relationship. They are definitely someone who is looking at the big picture and looking towards the future and making certain choices accordingly. I also feel that they are someone who wants to build things with someone else. Like this partnership component seems to be really important to them, which is kind of an interesting contrast, because when we were talking about your energy, although you were coming through as very social as well and a people's person, without a doubt, this ability to kind of be your own support system and things like that, that was coming through very heavily for you. And it's much more, again, sort of self-reliant and independent in that sense. I do feel that the soulmate energy here is not really like that. I feel that they definitely want someone there. They want to share themselves with someone, and they want this unified foundation, I feel. And there is so much patience with the Seven of Pentacles as well, where it feels like they are willing to, I don't know why, but I keep hearing like put stuff on hold. So I feel like they're willing to put stuff on hold for the things that really matter to them. And also I feel like they're willing to give things time and give things space when that's needed. And I also feel like they are willing to wait for the right thing, you know? And again, even though we are not specifically talking about romantic relationships here, because of a lot of this romantic energy that is coming through here, I do feel that this can potentially talk about more of a romantic soulmate connection for you, or this romantic soulmate energy. And maybe this is more of a specific message, but if you are someone who is single, you are not in a committed relationship right now, then I feel like it may be saying that your person is also patiently waiting for you. They don't seem to be willing to jeopardize their future or, give in to any substandard relationships. They don't want to get invested or get into a connection just for the sake of being in a connection. I feel like they are definitely waiting for the real deal, and they are willing to take the time to find it. But anyway, let's move on. Pile number 2. Let's see, what is a weak spot of this soulmate energy of yours? What do they struggle with? And it may be something that you potentially are really good at. Okay, so we have the 2 of Cups and the Sun with the 9 of Pentacles. Sign-wise, we have Leo, we also have Cancer and Virgo. So I actually feel a very strong connection to one of the points that we were already going over. With the 2 of Cups and the Sun, one of the weaknesses of your soulmate is most likely their heavy investment in the other person or in their partner. The 2 of Cups is this beautiful, devoted, sharing, open and communicative energy. It's very heavily tied to soulmate energy as well, where there is something like contradictory, or where there are 2 of these opposing or different energies that come together and beautifully complement each other. Where there is this amazing understanding and amazing connection. But with the Sun, it can indicate this huge emphasis on the connection, where your soulmate may tend to prioritize the other person that they are in a relationship with or in a commitment with above everything else, and sort of make it as the center point of their life. And we have this 9 of Pentacles as the underlying energy, which seems to hint at the main theme of their weakness is actually a sense of independence or a sense of self-worth, something that is more personal to them. And that's something that they may really struggle with, where they kind of lose sight of themselves and they lose sight of their own individual journey, their own individual wants and needs and desires and things that they want to do and things that they need. So again, you seem to have that aspect of, yes, being in a connection, and yes, being tied to other people and being a part of that and sharing yourself in that sense, but also having this own personal aspect about you too, where you are able to not lose yourself in the connection completely. There is something very individualistic about you. But I feel like this soulmate energy, because it seems to be so empathic and compassionate and caring and loving and supportive, it's I feel like it's really easy for them to, again, kind of lose themselves a bit, or prioritize the relationship and prioritize their partner over themselves. But let's also look at a strength of your soulmate, or what it is that they are really good at, and it may be potentially something that you are actually struggling with yourself. Okay. So Wow, we are getting 2 kings. So a lot of masculine energy coming through. Don't get stuck in the gender, by the way. But we do have the King of Cups and the King of Wands that is coming out in reverse. And we also have the 9 of Wands as the underlying energy. Sign-wise, we have Scorpio and Leo. And we also have Sagittarius with the 9 of Wands. Okay, so we have this 9 of Wands. I want to start off with this one because I feel like it beautifully wraps up this whole energy here. And basically this is saying that one of the strengths or strong points of your soulmate is the ability to hang in there even when the going gets tough. I feel like they are really good at enduring the difficult times and sticking it out, not running away, not abandoning the relationship and the connection as soon as things get more challenging and more difficult. So especially because we have this King of Cups and the King of Wands that is coming out in reverse. I do feel that, first of all, they are most likely a water sign, or they have significant water sign placements, again, regardless of gender. But I do feel that one of their strong suits is their emotional intelligence and their ability to be open and to be emotionally available. I feel like they are really mature when it comes to how they manage their own emotions, how they manage their own expectations, sort of giving of themselves, emotionally speaking, but also not allowing emotions to completely run amok. And I also feel that there is this ability to see the bigger picture, to kind of zoom out and look at the relationship as a whole, rather than operate from a purely personal sort of viewpoint. Especially with the King of Wands in reverse, it feels like they are able to kind of shut off their ego, or turn off this aspect which wants to fight for personal demands or personal wishes, or things like that, which again, like, there can be this extreme where they may veer too much in the direction of abandoning their own needs. But we already talked about that. So there is this danger of going overboard with this. But generally speaking, the beautiful thing about this trait of theirs is that they are able to look at the relationship. They are able to tune out their own ego when it really matters. And because of it, I feel like they are always able to come up with a solution. They're always able to work through things, work through difficult situations, and come to some sort of agreement or a compromise of some sort, because they realize that at the end of the day, the relationship is what matters. The relationship and the connection is what they want to preserve and maintain in their lives. And so it's not really about what they want, and it's not really about what the other person wants necessarily. It's about what's best for the relationship and how they can find a way that would be beneficial for both parties. You know, so I don't know how well I was able to explain that, because I feel like words failed me somewhat right now. Like it maybe didn't come out exactly how I wanted it to, but hopefully you got the point. Hopefully you got the main message here. And yeah, I feel like one of the most beautiful things about your soulmate is that they are able to see that at the end of the day, this is a partnership and you are in this together, and it's not about one versus the other. It's about both of you against an issue, both of you against some sort of obstacle or block or difficulty, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's really sweet. It's really beautiful and supportive, and I actually feel like it's everything that you are missing at this point, or that you are yearning for, that you are wanting to have by your side. So yeah, it's really beautiful and really pure. But Anyway, that was the energy coming through about your soulmate. We are also going to get some last oracle card messages to wrap this reading up, and we're going to see what Spirit wants you to know regarding this reading. And today we are doing it a bit differently because we are not just using a specific single oracle deck. We are actually getting messages from 2 different oracle decks. I just felt like it was time today. So let's do it. Let's see what Spirit wants you to know. Okay, I feel like this one and this one. Okay, you know, whatever. I already saw the third one that came out as well, but I'm not going to take it out because these were the main cards that were coming out. But I am going to show you the underlying energies. So the third card that came out is Seek Out the Bright Sparkle of Optimism. And the underlying energy is Keep Your Door Open to New Experiences. So yeah, both of these cards, especially with the underlying energy here, both of these cards are talking about keeping an open mind and staying optimistic about the future. But the cards that you actually got are Don't Rush Yourself. There's joy in the journey. I really love this message because, I don't know, for me, it just makes it easier to go through the journey, especially when you are in certain parts of the journey that you are not enjoying as much, or where you feel like you would like things to be a bit more, or you would like things to be different. Okay, I don't know why this card doesn't want to focus. Don't rush yourself. There's joy in the journey is what it says. So yeah. Anyway, the other card that you got is Look at the Big Picture Before You React. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is all about the energy of zooming out and yeah, taking a look at the big picture. Okay. And last but not least, we are going to get an affirmation card as well from this deck. So let's see. Whoa. Okay. So hang on. We are going to take a look at the card in just a bit. Let me clean up these cards first. Okay. Okay. So we have compliments. I know how good it feels to get a compliment, so I give that gift to others. I'll find a nice compliment for everyone I interact with today, even if I have to think really hard about it. In which case, I can follow up by complimenting myself for solving such a compliment puzzle. Wow, I'm skilled. Yeah, I don't know who needs to hear this affirmation. Sometimes these messages are coming through and I just have to trust that someone needs to hear them. But yeah, it's just making me think that Spirit is encouraging you to, again, stay open to people and spread this love and kindness around, because, I mean, it never hurts, right? It never hurts to spread the light and kindness and joy. So it's a really sweet message. And I don't know why, but I feel really strong pull towards this, this card over here too, because I'm kind of getting a message that you may have, again, you may have been in this part of the journey for quite some time where you have been on your own or where you have had this emotional lack. But I do feel like it's also saying that, you know, there is some sort of meaning behind this whole waiting period. And, you know, even if it takes time, I feel like at the end, it's all going to be worth it. And there is some sort of meaning in the waiting process as well. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there too. But pile number 2, I'm going to leave it here. I hope that you had fun listening to these messages and yeah, that they gave you something enjoyable. If that's the case, if you resonated with these messages, if you had fun and you're still here, then leave me leave me a little flower emoji down in the comment section, whichever flower you want. Leave me a little flower so that I would know that you made it all the way to this point. And I just love seeing how you resonate with these readings. So I hope to see you in the comment section. And as always, I hope to see you back on this channel next Friday for more messages and insight and fun. But in the meantime, please take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile number 3. My name is Helen, and I first want to say a huge thank you just for hanging out with me and choosing to watch this reading. So yeah, thanks for being here. But now before we get to the cards, I wanted to give you a quick little overview. So you may be noticing that possibly the lighting and the setup and everything looks a bit different, or maybe you see just something different from the intro part, and especially if you watched any of the other piles as well. And that is because I am actually filming on a whole other day for your pile specifically. It wasn't really something that I planned to do, but it was just, you know, so it was just one of those things. Sometimes things don't go as planned, and I was forced to stop filming and then postpone your pile to a whole other day. So here we are, and let's get into it. That was really all I wanted to say, just in case you were wondering why things looked a bit different. But pile number 3, you chose this Lotus and Purity card, and I'm going to feel my way through it intuitively, see what I'm picking up on the energy coming off of this card, and based on that, it should give you some inkling whether this is your pile or not. You should recognize something about where you are at right now. I do feel a lot of patience and calm and serenity coming through. There's actually something rather like innocent and genuine as well that is here. And I do feel that you are currently in a place where you seem to not be in any sort of hurry. You seem to be taking things as they come, and yeah, I feel like you are just being who you are, being as true to yourself as you can be, as sort of authentic and clear in your intentions, where you stand, what you want, who you are, who you are trying to become, what is important to you. I feel like all of those really important questions are something that you have been taking the time to ask yourself and figure out. Even if you don't have answers to all of those questions, I do feel that you have spent a lot of time doing this inner work and figuring out your place in the world, and becoming more aware of some of these more deeper truths. And I feel like because of that, there is some sort of anxiety that you have been able to calm down or get out of. So I feel like because we're talking about soulmate energy as a whole, I do feel that you are in a place where you are not necessarily in a hurry to meet anyone if you are single, or to be in a relationship with anyone if you have someone that you are interested in on the horizon, or even if you are not interested in a partner, or you are partnered up already, then simply, having this deep connection with people. I feel like you are in a rather steady or stable place within yourself. And so there is this sort of attitude of, like, when someone comes along that I do end up getting along with really, really well, then that's great. But I'm not in this haste to go out of my way to meet someone, or to force any sort of connection to happen. So as I said, there is a lot of this patience and a lot of this sort of calmness about you. And I also feel like there is this silent confidence in place as well, where because you are simply being who you are, you have this trust and this faith that your aura, your energy, the way that you are being, is going to attract the right people to you. Like, there is no need for you to go after and chase anything. The right people are going to find you. Yeah, that is really all that I am feeling from the intuitive card. So as I said, this is just the intuitive part. So if you are somewhat iffy about whether this is your pile or not, then stick around for these oracle cards, because these are going to describe what is your energy like generally. So you should be able to recognize yourself a lot more easily from these cards. So let's see. Oh my God, I swear to God, you cannot make this stuff up. And I do promise I have not seen these oracle cards. They are blindly selected. So yeah, you know, this is, anyway, let's move on. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get stuck here and in these little quote unquote coincidences as they happen. But anyway, we also have Uranus, Hawk, Jupiter, and Truth. You know, pile number 3, I was actually thinking to myself before I began filming today that maybe there is a reason why there was this delay in doing your pile and finishing up this pick a card reading. Maybe there is some sort of connection between, you know, you having this patient energy and being willing to wait. You know, I don't know why, but I got that feeling before doing your reading. And now looking at all of these cards, it just so well confirms all of that. It so well coincides with everything. And yeah, I just got the sense that maybe it wasn't actually a coincidence at all, that you know, life had its own plans and it didn't really go too well with my plans. But anyway, let's begin with the first card out, which obviously made me chuckle quite a bit, because the word patience was something that was already coming through from the intuitive part as well. And it's clearly confirming that you do have the nature of someone who is able to wait for things to come to you. And I feel like you are one of those people who knows that waiting for something that is worth waiting for gives it that extra sort of juiciness. You know, when you actually get it, when it actually arrives, there is so much more joy and pleasure attached to it because you have had to put in the time. There is almost something Saturnian about this energy that I feel here, even though obviously we didn't get any Saturn cards out, but I do feel this connection that Saturn and time have with you as well. So maybe you have Saturn in the first house of your birth chart, or maybe you have it in the 7th house, because again, we're dealing with soulmate energy. Or maybe you simply have your rising, your moon, or your sun sign in either Capricorn or Aquarius. But yeah, anyway, that is just an additional little bonus. If that rings true for you, then it may be further confirmation that this is truly your pile. But yeah, regardless of this patient nature, which, by the way, I also just want to add, I feel like there is also a patience regarding like other people. Maybe this is a more of a specific message, but I do feel this ability to give people space to figure out their own stuff and allow them to come to their own conclusions, to make their own mistakes. There is something very humane about this energy that is coming through, that is obviously describing you. So you seem to possess the quality of someone who is kind of like a teacher or a mentor, or someone who teaches other people a lot, but not by dictating the rules or dictating facts and wanting people to do as you do, or like copy you or something like that, but rather by observing and giving guidance when it is asked for, rather than pushing it on people or enforcing some sort of personal beliefs upon others. So that was, I don't know why, but that was coming through as well. So maybe that's true for some of you. We also have this Uranus card. And again, one of the things that is definitely coming through here is your sort of uniqueness or quirkiness, where you seem to be doing things a bit differently and possibly even living your whole life differently from everyone else, or how it is usually done. You may be doing things in a whole other way or out of the box way. And I also feel you're someone who likes being surprised, who likes exploring and seeing sort of what life has to offer without you necessarily planning every single step meticulously and wanting things to go in a very specific sort of way. I feel this open-mindedness and also this ability to adapt and take things as they come. And I do feel that it's because you have this ability to stay calm, to not allow your emotions to get the best of you or to get too frazzled. And you seem to almost be this like wise yogi who like flows on the waves, and then even if you hit some sort of a current that is uncomfortable or that you didn't plan for, you are able to just take it in stride. And I also feel that because of this hawk card too, which seems to indicate that there is this connection that you have either with like some sort of a spirituality practice or some divinity. You definitely are someone who is very intuitive and who is able to see a lot of things. I feel like you're very observant, and I feel like you notice a lot of things. And obviously that is also tied to your ability to just sort of be and to take things in, to analyze things. And I feel like as you are watching, as you are observing, as you are taking things in, you are absorbing so much wisdom, and you seem to be sort of like working with it internally or something. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you were able to turn everything that you see into this new way of seeing things, or like you were able to integrate the information that you get around or from around you into this breakthrough information or breakthrough wisdom. That's what I feel with this Uranus as well, that there is something original about the way that you are, again, integrating this information that you get. And also with this Uranus, you are maybe even drawn to more peculiar people as well. You may have very extravagant friends, or just people who are, again, out of the norm. You may click with people who are somewhat of a group of misfits or something. Again, maybe it's more of a specific message, but I definitely feel that there is something quirky about you and about the people that you vibe with the best. Now we also have this Jupiter, and actually we have this Truth card, which they kind of go hand in hand, because Jupiter is very, very strongly tied to truth and seeing things from a higher vantage point, having this sort of broad perspective. So I do feel that it kind of coincides with your authenticity and you living in your truth, you being very honest and sincere. But I also feel that it's talking about how you are most attracted to things that are true to who they really are. I almost get this the sense that you can't really handle any sort of posing or putting on a show or trying to be someone that they're not. Like I feel like you can't really do or deal with those types of people too well, even if, again, you seem to have a very sort of a Zen vibe about you. I just feel like you can't understand that, you can't connect with that, because obviously there's no point. Sooner or later the true nature of someone is going to come out, and so I just feel like you are not someone who even wants to waste your time on people like that. But I also just want to add with this Jupiter energy that there is this optimism and positivity that is coming through here as well. So it's a beautiful energy, this Jupiterian energy. It's very abundant and fruitful and expanding and growing. So clearly you are someone who is continually trying to better themselves and reach higher heights. And it maybe not necessarily in the classical terms of like achievements and stuff, but I do feel like you are constantly trying to live more in alignment with yourself and who you're meant to be. And I feel like you may actually be really interested in that as well, in like finding out some sort of deeper truth, something that you could share with the rest of humanity as well. And I also feel like you choose to see the good rather than the bad, or things that are maybe not that correct. So yeah, there's a lot that is coming through here, pile number 3, but I feel like I have already taken up way too much time on this part, so I'm going to move on. Hopefully it was enough to let you know that this was your pile, or that maybe it wasn't your pile. But hopefully you recognized yourself in this, and if that is the case, then stick around for the tarot card portion as well, because now we get to the main part of the reading, which is about your soulmate energy. And we are going to start off with looking at what are they like generally, your soulmate, I mean. Oh, wow. Okay. So we have... oh, interesting. We have the Devil, the Ten of Wands, and the Moon with the Page of Cups as the underlying energy. And of course, it wouldn't be a reading of mine if I didn't mess up the cards at least once. But I am also going to point out the zodiac signs that are coming through here. So if you recognize these, it may be further confirmation that this is your pile. So we have Capricorn with the Devil. We also have Pisces with the Moon. And the Ten of Wands is Sagittarius. Okay, so a very interesting energy that is coming through from your soulmate's part, because we have this beautiful concoction of a very watery, intuitive, sensitive energy, and a very masculine, assertive, and independent energy. So all in all, I do feel that the main motivator for your soulmate is the desire to help people, the desire to make something better so that a bigger collective of people could benefit from what they are doing. So yeah, this Page of Cups being the underlying energy is hinting at your soulmate having quite a sensitive and gentle soul, and them also being really genuine and true to themselves. And again, having this wanting to be of service sort of energy about them. At least that's what I'm feeling with the Page of Cups. But it's also like somewhat dreamy or fantastical, in the sense that I feel like they are doing things because they are trying to create a better future, a better tomorrow. They have this innate belief that things could be better, and I feel like their masculine and more assertive part of them is what is driving them to actually do something about it, to make that vision into a reality, rather than simply dreaming about it and hoping that things could be better. I feel like they are actually actively participating in that process, and they feel this sort of personal responsibility to play their part in making things better, in changing certain things that need to be changed. So that's where this beautiful, sincere, helpful energy is really coming from. I feel like they have quite a sensitive soul, but as I said, on the other hand, especially with this Devil card, they are someone who is willing to like really get down to it, especially actually with the Ten of Wands as well. both of these cards seem to talk about the willingness to do some actual work as well, to get in the depths of it, or in the mud, in the muck, if you will, and get uncomfortable and actually do something. So the devil is giving me this taking charge sort of energy, and I'm not actually feeling any of the usual devil-like traits at all. I don't feel the negative connotations that the devil has. I feel more of this Capricornian, ambitious, willing to shoulder things, willing to take responsibility, willing to, again, put themselves out of their comfort zone and take charge of certain things, especially because the Ten of Wands is indicating that they are someone who is willing to push themselves, who is willing to endure certain conditions or certain situations that are maybe not the most pleasant, but that are rewarding at the end, that have some sort of deeper meaning. And I also feel that because of the Moon card, which is saying that behind all of their endeavors is some sort of deeper emotional or spiritual or soulful connection. They are doing it in the name of something bigger. And also with the Moon, again, being this shadowy and more challenging card, I feel like it's talking to your soulmate's ability to do the things that other people are avoiding, or that they are not wanting to do. That, there is something about your soulmate being willing to do things, or to face things, to take on things, to fight for things that other people don't want to face, or that they would rather not they would rather not get mixed up in, because it's uncomfortable, because it's scary, because it's going against the grain, or again, it's taking up too much responsibility, or putting themselves in the spotlight or something like that. I feel like there is so much of this uncomfortable energy with the Moon that is talking about the things that, again, that need addressing, that need doing, that need setting right, that most people are either, again, trying to ignore or just not deal with. But I feel like your soulmate is not that sort of person. They seem to be a person of true integrity and true bravery. And so, as I was saying before, that there is this element of them being rather independent that is coming through here as well, even though clearly they are doing all of these things for the benefit of other people, or a larger group of people. This independence, though, is really interesting. And it may be something that makes them a really good leader, or someone who can take up a sort of leadership position quite easily, quite effortlessly. And I do feel that it's really interesting how, you know, the whole section before where we were talking about your energy, it was coming through mostly as the sort of energy that isn't that concerned with like worldly achievements and worldly ambitions, and you seem to be operating more on the spiritual plane. But with the Devil and the Ten of Wands, I do feel that your soulmate's energy is more grounded, is more connected to the physical realm, or the physical earthly plane. And I'm not saying that you are not like realistic or earthly at all, but I just feel like you are not that bothered with those sorts of things. You are not that driven by material aspirations, and I do feel that they are not materialistic necessarily either, but they do have this healthy dose of feeling the need to be more present, or to be more hands-on with everything that is going on. They seem to be wanting to jump into things more actively, and so there seems to be this beautiful sort of balance, this cohesive whole that is coming together, which again makes so much sense that your soulmate would kind of balance you out like that, or that you would have these complementary energies. And also the last thing I want to say with the 10 of Wands and the Moon, I do feel that they have done quite a lot of inner work as well. There seems to be this aspect of them that has worked through quite a lot of past stuff or past issues, because most likely they haven't had the easiest life and they haven't had the easiest background. So yeah, but with the Moon and the 10 of Wands, I just feel like they have actually taken the time and pushed themselves to face some of those things, to work through their subconscious and try to sort of rise above it. But anyway, I don't know why I feel so chatty today. I don't know why that is, but it just feels like the messages could keep on coming, but we would be here for way too long and I would start rambling. So let's just move on, and let's also look at a weak spot of your soulmates or something that they struggle with. And it is most likely potentially something that you are really good at. So as I said, this balancing out energy. So let's see. I feel like these two cards really want to come out. Okay. We have the Knight of Wands with the 10 of Cups and the Queen of Wands. So a lot of fire sign energy. The Knight of Wands is Sagittarius yet again. The Queen of Wands is Aries, and the 10 of Cups is more Pisces. So Pisces and Sagittarius are definitely coming out the strongest, which is also funny because we have Jupiter here, and Jupiter is the ruling planet of both of those signs. But that's just an aside. Okay, so the really interesting thing though that is coming through here is I feel like your soulmate has somewhat of hard time with taking initiative in the sense of like approaching someone and impressing them or showing off what they are like, showing off who they are in a sense. I'm gonna kind of jump ahead here again to the underlying energy, which is the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands, again, don't pay attention to the gender of this card. It's more so tied to this beautiful, confident energy that, again, is really receptive and that just knows that it has something valuable, something worthwhile. So there is this quiet confidence and beautiful, radiating, magnetizing energy. And I feel that because we are looking at things or a weak point of your soulmate, it's clear that there could be some self-worth issues, or just, even if it's not necessarily self-worth issues as such, it just feels that they may not value themselves as highly as someone else would value them. So we have this Knight of Wands and the 10 of Cups. And I do feel that they may struggle with feeling worthy enough to approach someone and sort of let their intentions or let their feelings show, especially because of the Knight of Wands, which is a very showy sort of energy. The Knight of Wands is full of flair, full of courage, full of passion, and maybe even some self-admiration as well at times. So yeah, the Knight of Wands is definitely not afraid to show themselves off, really put on a show to impress people, to flirt with people. You know, they're very sort of out there and kind of in your face in their energy. But again, we're looking at a somewhat of a weak spot, right? So I feel like your soulmate doesn't necessarily have the courage to do that. They don't seem to, again, show themselves off. They don't seem to feel really confident in what they have to offer, especially with the 10 of Cups. This is talking about this emotional connection, this sort of building a foundation of like long-lasting connections and building something emotionally significant. And most likely this is something that, again, they have inherited from their background, from their childhood. It's most likely tied to some of the things that they have been like working through. But I do feel that it is something that they haven't completely gotten rid of, because obviously these cards are coming out, so it's something that is still relevant. But yeah, I feel like they actually have so much to give. They just may not feel like that themselves. So yeah, they may be more shy, more reserved, or sort of quiet in, especially when it comes to like emotional vulnerability, emotional connections, that sort of thing. And it may actually take them some time to build that trust, to build that level of comfort with someone where they can open up, where they can feel safe and truly vulnerable. But again, it's interesting that you are coming through as someone who is able to give people space, give people time, and just sort of be there with your beautiful, supportive energy without forcing anything on anyone. And so again, it's like, yeah, it's something that you seem to be able to do really effortlessly, like see the value, see the potential, see all of the goodness that they have within themselves. And also, obviously, you feel really good with who you are as well. So again, it's just funny how these things kind of work in tandem like that, how they balance each other out. But yeah, anyway, that was the weak spot that was coming through here. But let's also see what is a strength of your soulmates, what is something that they are really good at, and it may be something that you potentially struggle with yourself. So let's see what we get. Wow. Okay, so we have the Seven of Swords, the World, and the Three of Wands that is coming out in reverse at the bottom of the deck. So sign-wise, oh my god, we actually got Saturn. We actually got a Saturnian card with the World. So yeah, interesting that still came out in the end. So sign-wise, we have Aquarius and Capricorn that are still very important. The Seven of Swords is a card of more Aquarius, actually, and the Three of Wands is a card of Aries. Okay, so a very interesting sort of message coming through here. I am going to start off with the underlying energy first. We have this Three of Wands that is coming out in reverse. Basically, I'm getting a very strong confirmation of independence with this, where your soulmate seems to be able to do a lot of things without outside help, without needing to reach out to anyone. They seem to be rather self-sufficient and yeah, not really feeling the need to again to get outside help to accomplish things, to achieve things that they are trying to do. I need to cover up the World card because of nudity, but hopefully you can still see that it's the World card. So with this combination of cards, we have the Seven of Swords and the World, and I do feel that one of your soulmate strengths is the ability to call themselves out, to eradicate any sort of self-sabotaging energy or places where they may be hindering themselves. Because the Seven of Swords is that slightly sneaky energy where we may be doing things that are not actually in our highest good, but we may not be aware that we are doing it. So it's sometimes tied to this self-sabotaging behavior, and I do feel that in this case. And with the World, it just feels like it's this beautiful accomplishment, or this closing up of energies. So yeah, I feel like your soulmate is successfully able to, again, call themselves out on their own BS. They are able to get rid of some negative habits or negative behavior patterns without the need of outside assistance necessarily. And again, I do feel that it is interesting in the sense that you seem to do better when you have certain people around you that you can, again, create these like connections with, and that you can observe and that you can take in information from them and all of that. I feel like other people are really important in how you come to certain conclusions, what sort of information you are able to ascertain, and also when it comes to the wisdom that you have to share, when it comes to all of this knowledge and this higher perspective that you have, you obviously need other people to share that with also. So there is a lot of this other people emphasis that is coming off from your energy. But again, when it comes to your soulmate, there is something inherently independent about them. And again, I hope that it's not coming off as, you know, you being dependent necessarily on other people, or that you cannot do things on your own. That's not what I'm saying at all. But yeah, it's like they are able to come to certain conclusions without other people mirroring something back to them, or without other people sharing wisdom with them. Yeah, so hopefully hopefully that made sense. But that's really the best way that I can describe it. So pile number 3. Oh my god, this camera keeps going out of focus. I do apologize. It must be really annoying to watch. But anyway, we're almost done anyway. So we are just going to close the reading out with some last oracle cards. And these are going to be Spirit's messages for you regarding the reading and what you need to know about it. So let's see what sort of supportive messages we can get for you. Okay, that was so strange. I haven't had these cards like turn themselves around as I shuffle, but anyway. Okay, so the first card that you got is allow yourself to enjoy what you have worked hard to earn. I do feel that it's somewhat tied to the material plane, and all of the messages that were coming through earlier, where maybe you are not that materially driven, or you are vibrating slightly on a higher plane, so to say. And so it may be difficult for you to feel that level of belonging or that connection with this 3D mundane world. But yeah, I feel like this is just Spirit reminding you to, again, allow yourself to participate more in this earthly realm. And we also have set fire to your fear and you will spark growth. Okay, interesting. I'm not exactly sure what sort of fear Spirit is talking about, because it didn't necessarily come through from the cards, but I am trusting that someone needs to hear this, and that this message will speak to whoever it needs to speak to. And at the bottom of the deck, we have do your best to stay grounded and in touch with your own growth. So we have 2 cards that are highlighting the message of growth. And clearly that is something that you are doing. And I love that we're getting the word grounded, because again, there was a lot of this spiritual and divine and that sort of energy coming through. But yeah, clearly we are still here. We are living this human experience. So we have to be grounded and a part of this reality as well, whether we want to or not. Sometimes it's more difficult to do, but anyway. Okay, we have one last oracle card deck to go through and get a message from. But I just quickly want to say, I don't know what is going on with me today. I feel so all over the place with this pile and so chatty, so I do apologize. I know it's a long one. But with the 7 of Swords in the world, I also feel that your soulmate has this strength, or one of their strengths is this ability to push themselves, to achieve, to push themselves to go through with things that are maybe somewhat scary to them, or somewhat unfamiliar to them, somewhat challenging to them, with this ability to take initiative, to take action on certain things that other people are avoiding and things like that. I also feel that may be a strength of theirs as well. And that was just now coming through as I was getting ready to take these cards, and as I was looking at some of these oracle cards that came out. So anyway, sorry, I just wanted to put that out there. And now let's close the reading off with a last affirmation card as well, because in this reading you get 2 oracle cards, or oracle card messages at the end. So let's see. Whoa. Wow, okay, cool. We haven't had any of these sort of bonus cards for any of the other piles, so I was hoping that some of the piles would get something, something from these bonus cards, but anyway, you got it, and it says, wait and see. Thoughts love to wander into assumptions and race ahead to the future. But what if you told them to cool their jets and chill a sec? Today you get to put your mental chatter on pause, to take a breath and simply wait and see how things play out before you let your mind run a marathon of imagined scenarios. Wait, and you'll see that waiting and seeing was a lot more productive than wondering and worrying. Insert audible sigh of relief here. I'm just loving how everything is sort of coming together, and how all of these messages seem to be just working in unison so beautifully. So yeah, wait and see. Again, we get back to the keyword of patience. I feel like Spirit is definitely highlighting how patience is going to pay off. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think there is anything else left to say, but I just feel like this whole thing came beautifully, kind of rounded everything up beautifully, and we came full circle with this whole patience thing. So again, hopefully these last Oracle card messages were useful to you, were of value to you, and they gave you what you needed to hear. But anyway, pile number 3. Now we are done, I promise. Thank you so much for having the patience to hang out with me for this whole time. I'm not even sure how long this reading is, but thank you. And if you are still here, by the way, if you made it to this point first, please know that you rock, and I absolutely adore you for spending your time with me. I'm really grateful. But let me know in the comment section that you are still here and that you made it all the way to this point by, let's actually leave some sort of a cool emoji. Ooh, leave me the waves emoji. Yeah, I don't know why, just I feel like the waves emoji would be a cool emoji to leave in the comment section, so that way I would know that you are here and that you watched this thing all the way to the end. I really appreciate it, and I do hope that you had fun listening to these messages and that they were interesting to hear. So yeah, and I also hope to see you back on this channel next Friday for some more messages, more insight, and more fun. But in the meantime, please take care of yourself, and bye-bye.